Right. So today we'll discuss about one of the important topic in Pysark, that is data frame. That is data frame. In Azure Databricks, obviously we are going to depend upon Spark related activities, right? With the help of Spark, we are going to handle the structured data and unstructured data. Structured data means SQL, unstructured data is as either CSV or Parquet or AVR or JSON, right? So earlier we have one concept. There is one concept is available in Spark, that is RDD, right? But RDD main is designed for structured data, not unstructured data. Okay, but in DataFrame, it is going to support it for structured data as well as unstructured data. Structured data as well as unstructured data. Okay, right. There are different ways to create the data frames. Depends upon the business demand. So we used to create the data frames in different ways. Okay, before going to the data frames, let me create the Databricks in Azure portal. Okay, click on Azure Databricks. Right? Azure Databricks is one of the topmost Spark-based analytic tool, right? Especially this Azure Databricks is designed for to read the structured data as well as unstructured data, means batch processing data as well as real-time streaming data. Batch processing means historical data. Real-time streaming data means live data, right? Right. The moment when we try to create the Databricks workspace, there are some mandatory options available. Let me select the options one by one, right? If you see a few of the options, you are able to see the star mark, right? Right, that is mandatory. That is mandatory. Let me create resource group here. Okay, workspace name. Team workspace group. Okay, right. Region, okay. East US, okay for me. Next, in the pricing tier, so we have three types of pricing tiers available: standard, premium, trial, free trial, right? Let me select the trial premium 14 days. 14 days. Okay, the final one is the managed resource group. Test managed group. Okay, click on networking. Right, as of now, I'm not going to select any networking. Review create. Workspace means it is a place multiple team members are working together, like data science team, data analyst team, data engineer team, right? Okay, it will take some time to create the resource. Nowadays, most of the project, while handling the structured data and unstructured data, we completely depends upon data frames only. So earlier we have one a concept is there, that is RDD. Okay, right. Resilient distributed something system. Okay, but there is no scope for RDD. But nowadays there is no scope for RDD. Most of the project, 99% in today's market, right? Most of the project they are using data frames only. So we are going to mainly focus on data frames, not into RDD, right? I'm not going to waste the labs into RDD. Okay, we'll see throughout our course, right? We'll do the labs and SCT type 1, type 2 workshops and projects. Everything we'll do in data frames only. Okay, right. Data frames. By using data frames, we can handle the structured data and unstructured data. I think you guys are aware of any C or C++ or .NET or Java, right? If you see any one programming language, right? For example, C language, right? C language. At the time of your education, BTech or degree or MCA, right? So we have the C or CPP something language, right? Right? At least you guys are aware of any one programming language, I guess, right? So at the time of writing any programming language, in the top, every programming language in the top, so right, we have a header files and packages libraries. So we need to define at the top, at the top, right? Something if you are see the C sharp, C language, header files are something ash include std id dot h, right? If you see C sharp using system dot something, right? If you go for any Java language, import.java.lang.organization something, right? Those are, we can call it as packages or libraries, right? Or header files, right? Why we are going to maintain those things in top level? Because at the time of writing your code, right? So you are going to handle this some, you are going to write some classes, you are going to write some objects, right? You are going to define something. You are going to read the data from somewhere, right? For doing this activity, we need to import some libraries or packages, right? Right? So without these header files, without the packages, without modules, without libraries, right? We can't write the code. Definitely, we need a packages, libraries, header files at the starting of our page, right? 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 Guys, you are following, right? Whatever I'm saying, what I'm trying to say. So at the time of writing any programming languages, so in the top level, we are going to define the packages or libraries or header files. With the help of those things, we are going to write the below code, right? Below code is going to depends upon in the root level packages, the libraries, right? Root level packages and libraries. Same like at the time of writing the data frames or RDD, we have two concepts, are data frames and RDD. Even if you are handling with the data frames, right, you need to depends upon some root level object or library or package. Even RDD also, you need to define the root level object or packages or library, right? Data frame also at the time of writing the data frame, right? So we are going to use the one of the object. The object name is called Spark session object. So we need to define that Spark session object in our notebook cell, right? With the help of Spark session object, so we can create the data frame. Okay. Spark session is completely belongs to data frame, right? Please keep in these words in your mind. It is very important. Spark session is dedicated to data frames, right? Spark session. Spark context is dedicated to RDD. Okay. Nowadays there is no scope for RDD. Every project nowadays they are using the data frames only. Spark session is completely dedicated to data frames only. By using the Spark session, we are going to write the data frames while handling the structured data and unstructured data. Structured data means SQL data. Unstructured data means CSV, Parquet, AVRO, JSON. Right? Let me go to this portal. Go to resources. Scroll down, launch workspace. Again, it will take some time. Okay, let me jump into PPT. Okay, so this is the code for creating the Spark session object. Okay, Spark equal to Spark is a variable. As Spark is a variable, Spark equal to Spark session. Spark session is the object. Dot builder. Builder is a method. Dot app name, application name, and get or create. If you want to get the details, You can use the data frame. If you want to create the any like any data frame, you can use the create. Okay, right? So I think you guys are observed at the time of yes, now Databricks is created successfully, right? Guys, please let me know. I want to create my cluster, right? I want to create my cluster, development related cluster, where I can go and create the cluster here.
Compute.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let me click on the compute. Right here we have all purpose compute and job compute. All purpose compute and job compute. Okay, right. Let me create one of the all purpose compute. Okay, means it is a job, sorry, development related compute. Development related compute. Create compute. Every day we'll discuss, every day we'll discuss one by one option. Okay, right? Create compute. For even if I tell you all these options in one day, definitely for remembering all those things, so it's very difficult. So we'll discuss one by one, each and every topic. Okay. Now let me give the cluster name, data frame cluster. Okay. Policy unrestricted. Okay. Access mode single user access. Okay. Fine. Fine. Okay. Right. This is the important one, guys. Performance. Databricks runtime version. Right. Databricks runtime versions. Right. We are in standard mode. We are in standard mode. If you see the standard mode, we have the n number of versions available in the standard mode. We have n number of versions available in the standard mode. Standard mode. Right. If I open the PPT, while handling with the data frame, definitely we need to depends upon the Spark session object, right? Spark session object, right? Earlier, when they are introducing the data frames into the in the Spark, right? Earlier we have the versions. Earlier we have older versions like 7.2, 9.1, 10.1 something, right? Earlier version, for example, 1 year, 2 years back or something, 3 years back, we have projects they are using these versions, right? I think it's not supported. Let me select the 11.3. 11.3. It is older version. It is older version. Okay. Earlier, the moment at the time of at the time of handling the data, right? They are going to introduce the data frame, right? Data frame, right? Instead of RDD, they are introducing the data frame for handling the structured data, unstructured data, and structured data, right? If you see the earlier version, if you try to create the cluster and try to create the data frames, you need to define this logic. Spark equal to spark session dot builder dot app name get or create means it is an object. It is an object. It is a mandatory to define at the root level, at the notebook page top level, so that we can able to write the below codes, right? So that we can able to write the below codes. Below codes means it is a mandatory. If you go for any C language, definitely top level we have the header files. If you see any C# programming language, we have the something packages or libraries, right? Even same Java also we have in the root level we have packages and libraries, right? Those are mandatory. Those are mandatory, right? If you skip those things, right? If you're trying to create the classes and methods, it will throw the error. It will throw the error, right? We need to mandatory define this, right? This object, right? Earlier version, this is the mandatory step. This is the mandatory, this part, we need to write this mandatory step into the earlier version. This code we need to write, mandatory step. This code we need to write in earlier version. But latest version, if I select latest version in 13.1, it is not mandatory to write this code. It is not mandatory. Automatically, this Spark session related package already inbuilt in latest version. In latest version. In latest version. Okay, if you want to write no worries, you can write the Spark session object related code For example, I don't want to write this code directly. I am going to create the data frames. Yes, it is possible. If you while executing the code, backend it is going to check whether this version having this object or not, data frame object or not. Yes, it have, because we are using the latest version. We are using the latest version, right? So we don't see any errors. We don't see any errors because we are using the latest version. Latest version. Okay, right. Okay, let me select the latest version, 13.2, something Scala 2.2. Okay, here it's asking the minimum workers and the maximum workers, right? Let me give the 4 min and maximum. Enable auto scale. Enable auto scale. Right? You guys, I think, aware of this enable auto scale. While handling the workload, we don't know when the traffic is hit to my source. All right. Our source is ADLS Gen 2, Azure Data Lake Gen 2. That means storage account under we have the ADLS Gen 2, right? In the ADLS Gen 2, definitely in a real-time project, we have raw layer, bronze layer, silver layer. Raw layer having the dump data, means huge amount of data. It having, for example, it having the 100 records. Client want only 20 records only. There is a 20 valid records, right? Out of 100, 80 records are unwanted data, right? We don't want that data. Maybe the data having the duplicates, null value, something different. Client want only 20 data, means we need to extract the data. We need to extract the 20 data out of 100 records. Out of 100 records, we need to extract the 20 data, 20 records data, right? 20 records data, right? While handling the huge amount of workloads, definitely we are going to depend upon the auto scaling option. Auto scaling option, right? As of now, we mentioned minimum workers 2, means 2 servers. Worker means servers. Server node, worker node, server node, worker node, mission, virtual mission. So all are same. All are same. Cluster means group of virtual missions. Why we are going to create the cluster? Right? In Azure Databricks, we are going to create the cluster. In Kubernetes also, we are going to create the cluster. Why we are going to create the clusters? Because we are handling the huge amount of workloads. Right? We are going to handle the huge amount of workloads. Right? Maybe we are receive the data from applications or posted applications or any social media sites or any different IoT devices. Right? When we are handling the workloads, definitely we need a cluster. Cluster means group of virtual machines, right? Cluster means group of virtual machines. This group of virtual machines is going to handle the workload, right? If we specify the only one virtual machines, when we are trying to handle the some huge amount of data, definitely if your CPU utilization reaches more than 70% or 80%, definitely that virtual machine is going to down, right? So that's why we are going to create the cluster. Under the clusters, we are going to maintain the minimum workers and maximum workers based upon the client workload, right? And also we have the option called enable auto scaling. Initially, when we are handling the workload, the minimum workers is 2 virtual machines. 2 virtual machines means client. This Azure Databricks, Microsoft Azure going to charge the workloads initial days 2 workers only, based upon the backend traffic demand. Based upon the traffic demand, automatically backend these maximum workers will be created. Right? At the time of handling the huge workloads, the way of cost is different. Right? At the time of handling minimum worker load, the way of cost is different. Entirely handling the workload also, the way of cost is different. Those things which will be taken care by the Microsoft. Right? Microsoft. Here we are trying to create the missions. Cluster means group of missions. Missions means servers. Server means Windows servers or else Linux servers. Right? Every servers having the some configurations, right? RAM, hard disk, processor, right? Here we are going to specify this all those configuration details. Right? Compute details we are going to pass. Compute means every machine is having this some compute detail like RAM, hard disk, memory, processor, everything. Right? If you see the Microsoft Azure portal, Azure or AWS, right? Everyone call it, everyone, they are raising one word as compute, compute, compute. Compute means every mission having the configurations, right? Configuration. If you open your laptop having the some configurations, 4 GB RAM, 8 GB RAM, i3 processor, i5 processor, 1 TB hard disk, 500 GB hard disk, something, right? Those things are handle your workloads, your processor, your speed, right? And for example, if you are using 4 GB laptop and your memory is 500 GB hard disk, i3 processor, the cost is 30,000. If you go for 8 GB RAM, if you go for 8 GB RAM, you are using 1 TB hard disk, i5 processor, the cost is 50,000. If you go for 16 GB RAM, right? So based upon your configurations, right? Laptop company is going to charge the amount, right? Charge the amount, right? And when we go for higher configurations, the cost is very high, and we are easily handling our workloads. Means when we are copying the data from one folder to another folder, or if you are trying to copy the any data into your pen drive, right? The way of movement is very fast, right? If you open any softwares and right, the way of access is very fast, right? If you want to do this that type of works, right, cost is somewhat is different. Cost is very high, but your workload is going to reduce, right? Your workload is going to reduce, right? Right, your time also reduced, right? Same like when we are handling the workloads from the business side, we need to select the compute. 14 GB memory is the very basic one to handle the uh, non-prod environments, non-prod environments. Or if you're trying to do some POCs, right? These basics are enough. These basics are enough. Okay. So whatever the selection, whatever you're trying to selections, right? So every missions having some series, DS3, DS4, right? DDD, DD4. Those are all series. Those are all series, right? Client, Microsoft Cloud providing the series servers, right? Everything, those are ready-made only. Those are ready-made only. We are not going to buy some other places, right? We are going to buy the within the cloud itself only, right? Based upon the usage selection, they are going to charge the amount hourly or monthly or daily or yearly, right? So everything while creating the any services, while selecting any services, right? So we need to think about the client workload, right? For example, if we select only 14 GB memory, but while we're handling the huge amount of workload, right? It is not recommended. It is not recommended for 14 GB memory, right? We need to decide based upon our workload. We need to decide whether we can go for which series or memory sizes, and right? I have a dedicated deployment design document I have, we'll discuss later, right? For this selection, resources selections, everything. Okay, right. So every day we are keep on repeating each and everything, guys, no worries. Definitely after 1 week or 10 days, you are in a position to explain this, all those things. Okay. Right. Like the way we need to tell at the time of recruiter also. For example, recruiter, it is one of the important question. Can you please explain this Spark architecture? Can you please explain this Spark architecture? So everyone reading the something documents, Google documents, something, right? They are going to tell the Google related stuff and all. It is not recommended. Not recommended. He is also going to try the read those things into Google, but he's expecting simple and normal and real-time example, real-time example, right? Let me tell you the answer. For example, if he's asking the explain a Spark architecture, right? For example, I have a Spark code. I have a Spark code. When I submit my Spark code into the Databricks cluster, right? Databricks. When I submit my code into Databricks, Spark is going to take care of this application code. When we are handling Spark is going to handle the code. It having the different components available in the Spark. Those are driver program. Those are driver program, cluster manager, and worker nodes. Worker nodes, right? Driver. Let me explain a simple example, right? Driver program, whatever we are submitting the code, right? Driver program is going to give those things into cluster manager. Cluster manager is responsible for to divide the workload into multiple workers. Each workers having the executor, each executor having the task, right? For example, I have a logic 1 plus 1, 1 minus 2, 2 plus 2. When I submit the code to Spark, this driver program is going to submit those code into cluster manager. Cluster manager is responsible for divide the logic code into workers. So every worker it's doing their own job, right? Once the work is completed, worker is waiting for another work. Okay, each worker node having the executor having the jobs, enough. Or else if you want to explain other things, like when we are creating the cluster, we have the options called enable auto scaling and worker type, minimum workers, maximum workers. Based upon workload, you need to tell. Enough. Simple. So you need to tell the answers very sweet and short within 1 minute or 2 minutes. You need to explain the answer very sweet and short. Okay, right. Any questions so far? Let me create the compute.
Yes, Raman. Yeah.
Yes, please.
A core means what type is there? Na? 14 GB memory and 4 system.
Yes, please. Yes, correct.
What is my core?
Let me open the GPT. Standard. When are the series name? DS3. DS3 underscore V2. V2, 14 GB memory and 4 cores. Meaning of course. You know the processor, i3 processor, i5 processor, i7 processor, and RAM, 4 GB RAM, 8 GB RAM, 16 GB RAM. Hello.
Yeah.
I think you are aware of, right? While handling the workloads, right? So we have the series something DS3 V2 40 GB memory, 4 cores, right? Right. Let me get the answer from this chat GPT. Chat GPT is going to give the 4 cores, means it has a 4 cores, which means it handled up to 4 tasks or threads concurrently, assuming that software and workload can take a look. The amount of RAM available is 14 GB, which provides the virtual machine with the necessary workspace for storing it. 14 means is RAM is the 14 GB, right? 4 cores means a processor, right? Processor. Okay, right. Those are which is related to missions configurations. While handling the workloads, we need to specify the missions configurations. This entire compute related everything information which is available under the deployment design document, DDD shortcut. We can call it as DDD, deployment design document, or requirement gather document. Okay. It will take some time to create the cluster. Let me jump into the PPT. Right. There are different ways to create the data frames. Okay. The first one is spark.create data frame. It is a straightforward. It is a straightforward, right? Sometimes, very rarely, we are going to create the spark.create data frame, right? Spark.create data frame. Okay, right. Means, for example, uh, there is, I don't have any structured data. For example, there is a source, means mm, I have a storage account. My storage account having the uh, layers, raw layers, bronze layer, silver layer, right? My data which is available in bronze layer, right? There is a one table, customer table. There is a one table, customer table. Client requirement is I want to move the customer data plus orders data into silver layer. So we need to join the both tables, customer data, customer tables, and orders tables. But as of now, we don't have any orders tables. Orders table, right? We don't have any orders information in the ADLS Gen2 under the storage account, right? So on that time, with the help of this spark.create data frame, I am going to directly create the orders table under this place. Spark.create data frame. Spark.create data frame. Next, once the data frame is ready, means data frame means successfully that order table is created into the notebook under Azure Databricks, right? The next step, I'm going to join the both tables, customer table and orders table into the notebook, in the notebook. Okay, right. Next, second data frame is RDD dot to DF schema. Means, for example, you have an existing RDD, right? We already discussed, right? RDD, but there is no scope for RDD. For example, there is existing RDD which is available in your project. Existing RDD which is available in your project, right? Definitely, RDD means simple note. Databricks having the notebooks, that notebook having the cells, that cell having the RDD related code for handling the unstructured data, right? The requirement is, right, please try to convert the RDD into data frame, right? We are going to convert the existing RDD into data frame. Yes, it is possible. We can convert the existing RDD into data frame with the help of RDD dot to DF. DF means data frame. So we are going to pass the schema under that. And this is the second way for to create the data. No worries. We have the dedicated labs, right? We have the dedicated notes, everything we have. No worries. We'll discuss each and everything in detail. Slowly, you will get the all the answers. Whatever questions in your mind, right? Slowly you will get the all the answers. All the answers. At the time of learning any course, somewhat is difficult to understand because those terminologies and the way of selection and the way of UI also somewhat is difficult, somewhat confused, right? Right? If you put some efforts, if you're trying to learn the session, if you're trying to attend the session every day, right? So you are in a position to understand this concept after 1 week or 10 days, right? Not only Azure Data Engineer, Databricks. If you go for data science or any DevOps, any testing, right? When we are trying to learn any new technology or new concept, right? So somewhat is difficult. Somewhat difficult to understanding all those things. But human mentality is while watching any movie, right? We can easily understand the movie, even if it is a Hindi movie, English movie, or any Chinese movie, because those are those are objects are moving, right? The way of objects moving, right? So that we can understand what happening at the background. But when we are trying to learn the new technology, somewhat we are facing challenges. So based on maybe we are came from different backgrounds, right? Right. So even if we are in IT, right, we are trying to learn new technology, we are facing some issues, right? Well, challenges also we are facing, right? For understanding all those things. Okay. Please try to put some effort on initial days. So after few days, you are in a position to write the code and execute the code, and you implement some POCs as well. POCs as well. Okay, right. And third data frame is spark.read.format, spark.read.format, file format dot option dot load. Right. This is the third data frame, and fourth one is spark.table. Third one is we are frequently every day in projects and our lab. Frequently we are doing third data frame. Third data frame spark.read.format. Here we are specifying the file format, whether you are going to handle the CSV data, Parquet data, JSON data, text data, AVRO data, Delta format data. Guys, we have different types of formats available at the source side. Source side formats means CSV, AVRO, JSON, right? Text, Parquet, Delta Lake. So there are different file formats available in the source side, right? Maybe some of the projects they are using CSV, some of the project they are using Parquet, some of the project they are using both CSV Parquet or AVR or something. Okay. Right. We'll do some exercise for this all formats, and we have dedicated session for this formats like CSV. What is CSV? Right? Comma separated value. How we are going to define. All right. What is Parquet? Right? When we go for Parquet, when we go for Delta Lake, when we go for CSV, when we go for JSON, we'll discuss in detail. Right? Third one is very, very important, and frequently every day we are using the third data frame, that is spark.read.format, CSV data or AVR data. Option.load. Load means where your source is available. The path we need to specify it under the load option. Right. Next, fourth one is spark.table. Spark.table. Especially for handling the table point of view, we are going to use the spark.table. And fifth one is the spark.sql. If you want to write any SQL query directly, you can, no worries, you can we have the option. We can write the SQL query into the spark.sql. Spark.sql. Right? Okay. Let me jump into this cluster. Yes. Now cluster created successfully. Right? If you are able to see, guys, you are able to see, right? There is a tick mark. Green tick mark means cluster created successfully. If there is an issue, it's showing in the red symbol, something interrupted, something. Okay, right. Let me go to the workspace. Under the workspace, we have the home workspace repositories. Okay, let me right click on the home option. We just selected free trial, right? But real time, so we are not going to select any free trial. We go for premium or standard. But if you select the premium and the standard, somewhat UI changes you will see. Okay, means few of the differences we can find it in UI, right? But here we don't have any. If I click on expand option, I'm unable to see this notebooks creations and all. For this, you need to click on the right click and click on the create. But if you go for premium and all, right? If we expand, we can able to see the notebooks creation. Okay, let me click on this, right click on this option and create the notebook. Dismiss. Let me give the any name here, data frame. Right? Okay. We'll see some of the sessions in SQL. Okay, we'll discuss some of the sessions in Scala. I'm not going to touch in R. I'm not going to touch R. We'll see the Python plus Pysark plus SQL plus Scala. Okay, right. Right now. So there is, okay, right. Here we are writing the code as Pysark related code. Pysark code related. We have only Python, SQL, Scala, R, but there is no option to select the Pysark. There is no option to select the Pysark. Right? Earlier, this data frame is mainly designed to handle real-time streaming data plus unstructured data. Right? This data frame is backend Its work based upon the Spark related. Based upon the Spark. It is mainly designed for Spark streaming analytics for handling the workloads. Right? Hadoop is worked on based upon the map reduce concept, right? Databricks also is going to depend upon the Spark related stuff, Spark related things. Okay, but suddenly due to the business client demands or workloads are so they are expecting to write the code Spark related code plus Python related code. That's why they are introducing as a new one is that is Pyspark. Pyspark, P, okay, Pyspark, Pyspark, okay, Pyspark means it is a combination of Python plus Spark. It is a combination of Python plus Spark code. So we are going to write the Python related code and Spark related code. Okay, right. But if you see notebook, there is no option to select the Pyspark. There is no option to select the Pyspark, right? For this, you can just select Python is enough. In the Python option, we are going to write the PySpark related code. In the Python option, we can write the complete Python related code and PySpark related code. PySpark means we are going to write the Python plus Spark related code. It's mixed. It is a mixed code. Okay, right. Right. Let me go to the okay. Okay, first data frame. First data Spark dot create data frame. This is the first one. This is the first way to create the data frame. Here, let me take this example. I have 3 lines of code. I have 3 lines of code. Okay. The first line is dedicated to Python. I have this code which is belongs to Python related code. Python related code. I have a variable. My variable name is L. Okay, let me put comments here. Variable name is L. L means list. List. It is a list. It is a list means tuple. It is a tuple. Python, we have the different types of data types available in Python. We'll discuss at the time of Python sessions point of view, right? Every programming languages, scripting languages, databases having their own data types, right? Integer, string, or varchar, float, long, decimal, right? Same like Python also having integer, data type, long, double, list, tuple, right? Dictionary, set, tuple, dictionary, right? Here we are using the tuple. Here we are using the tuple. Tuple is one of the very important data type in Python. Very important data type in Python. Okay, right. Right. So, right here I have a one variable. My variable name is L. Yeah. Right. Here I have one list, tuple of list. Tuple means it is a collection of items. Collection of items. Same like arrays. There is no array concept in Python, guys. There is no arrays concept in Python. If you see in C sharp or .NET, sorry, Java or any JavaScripts, any other programming languages, right? We have arrays concept, right? We have a arrays concept. Means arrays means collection of elements. Collection of elements, right? Here we have the elements like 1 comma Rama, right? 1 is the integer, Rama is a string, right? It is a collection of elements. Next, 2 comma Krishna, 3 comma Sai, 4 comma Suresh, right? It is a collection of elements. Collection of elements. Okay. So tuple is one of the data type which is dedicated to Python. Python. So just I have taken one tuple, all right, one tuple. I'm going to store this tuple into one variable. The variable name is called L. L. It is a list, collection of items. Collection of items. I'm going to store this collection of item into one variable. The variable name is called L. Yeah, right? L. Here I'm going to create a first data frame. I'm going to create one data frame. A df means variable. Right? For understanding point of view, I just mentioned as df. df. Right? df is data frame, means variable. If you want to specify any different name, df1 or no worries, you can specify it. Variable name is your wish. Variable name is your wish. Okay, it is not any fixed thing and all. Okay, variable name is your wish, right? Here, variable name is df1. I am going to create one data frame. Data frame. Spark dot create data frame. Spark dot create data frame. While you specify the create data frame, D is capital, F is capital. D is capital, F is capital. Let me write here df1 equal to spark dot create intelligence. Okay. Okay, Spark dot create data frame. So in the create data frame, it's expecting L, right? So here we are passing this collection of items into collection of items. This is the list, right? We just assign this list into L, right? We just store this collection of items into L, right? I'm going to pass this L into under this create data frame. Under this create data frame. Right? Next, I'm going to check the show method. Show method. Let me click on the shift enter. Click on the yellow. Shift enter. Add an existing comp. Okay. Default cluster. Data frame cluster. Let me run this cell. Once the cluster is up, we'll be able to see the code. Right? Right? So we are able to see the whatever we are passing this collection of items, right? Collection of items. We are able to whatever we are passing this collection of items, we are able to see in table format level. That is unstructured data. It is unstructured data. Now we are able to see the data in structure format level. With the help of data frame, we are able to see the whatever we are passing the unstructured data, right? We are able to see structure related data. Here, this data don't have any headers, any columns. If you want, we can pass the columns name as well. Columns names as well. Okay, let me open the Spark jobs. Okay, right? So when I run this code, at the back end, Spark generated the jobs. Here we have the job 1, job 0 and job 1. Job 0 and job 1. Each job having the stages, right? Each job having the stages, right? Okay. Full name, description, submitted, duration, task, and completed, right? So whatever we are writing the Spark related, right? We just return the submit code and submit the code. We just return the code and submit the code to the Spark. What happened background? This compute having the cluster, right? Data frame cluster, right? So we just return the code and submit the code into the cluster. Cluster is going to responsible for take care of this code. Cluster having the driver node, cluster manager, and worker nodes. Each worker node having the executor having the task, right? Each executor having the task, right? Under that, there is a Spark jobs is available. This Spark job is good. Spark jobs having the stages, right? When we are submit this code, into the Spark cluster, backend 2 jobs will be created. Job 0, job 1. Job 0 and job 1 is going to take care of to run the code. Okay, right. Yesterday, one of the interviewer, one of the candidate is facing this type of question, right? For example, I have a simple data frame. simple data frame, right? So I just return the code and I submit the code, right? I'm able to see the output, but how many Spark jobs will be created? How many stages available under the each job, right? Here we have the job 0, job 1. Here we have only one stage, stage 0, stage 1, right? Okay, right. Next, this is the straight forward to create the data frame, right? But definitely real time, 90% we are going to handle the source related data, right? For example, I have data. My source is Azure storage account or ADLS Gen2 under raw layer. I want to read the data. I want to do some transformations, right? First, we are going to create the mount point, right? Yesterday, we already seen. What is the mount point? Anyone? What is the mount point? What is the mount point? Why we are creating the mount point? What is the purpose?
Connect the different sources. Sorry.
Any other definitions?
Source data creation. Database creation for the source.
No. Any other question? Sorry, any other answers? No. Purpose of mount point creation.
Read the data.
Okay. To read the data, we have dedicated code, spark.read.format. But why we are creating the mount point? Mount point means, so for example, I have a storage account. My storage account having the n number of containers. So for example, I have a source container and destination container. My source container having the 100 folders, 100 folders. Or else, I have a 10 containers. For example, my storage account having the 10 containers, right? I want to read the specific container data. I want to read the specific container data. That specific container having the specific data. That specific container having the subfolder. I want to read the data from for dedicated container, right? With the help of mount point, we are going to just refer the dedicated container. We are going to just specify the, hey, I want to read the data from this dedicated container. For this, I'm going to create one mount point. Mount point means it is going to just reference point of view, same like data set. In Azure Data Factory, we heard, right? Data set means it is going to refer the data, which data you want exactly access, which data you want, right? Saying like I have 10 containers, I want to read the data on specific container. The mount point is going to refer the specific container. Out of 10 containers, I want to access first container. I want to refer the first container. I want to read only first container data, right? For this, we are going to create the mount point. Every container, we are going to create dedicated mount point. For example, we have a source data and target data. For source data, we are going to create one mount point, and destination container, we are going to create one mount point. For example, I have only one container. I want to read the data and write the data into same container. For this, we need only one mount point. In Azure Data Factory, also yesterday we discussed linked service, right? For example, I have dedicated storage account. My storage account having the source container and target container, right? Within the storage account only, I am going to read the data and write the data. For this, we are going to create dedicated linked service, one linked service for enough for this scenario. Same like if you want to move the data from within the container, if you want to move read the data and write the data into within the container. One mount point is enough. One mount point is enough. Right? Okay. Okay. We just seen very basic one and straightforward. No worries. I will explain in detail at the time of Python. We have dedicated sessions for Python from scratch level. And the moment I will explain these tuples, data types, dictionaries, list, exception handling, right? Classes, objects, functions, lambda expressions, everything we'll discuss. Okay. Right. This is the one way. Second way. Right. Let me copy. Here, the first example, whatever we've seen, right? So I don't have any columns. I don't have any headers. Means it is a customer ID. It is a customer name, right? I want to pass my customer ID and customer name. So whatever we are writing the earlier code, right? We don't have any headers. Let me create one more cell. If you click on plus button, so there is so you can able to create a few more cells. Let me paste the code. I have a one variable. My variable name is data. This data variable having the tuple of list, means collection of items. This collection of items I am going to store in one variable. My variable name is called data. And one more variable, it is header. Here I am passing two columns, customer ID and customer name. Okay, right. I'm assigning this customer ID, customer name to header variable. Here I'm going to create one data frame, df equal to spark.create data frame. Here I am passing these two variables, data comma headers. Finally, I'm going to check the show method. So df.show. df.show means this data frame having the data and headers, right? This data frame having the above data and headers, right? Customer ID, customer name, 1, Rama, 2, Krishna, something it having, right? Whatever the data it contain, I'm going to assign this data into one variable, df. This df having this entire data, this df having, right? Now I'm going to check df.show. I want to see what df contain. Show is a method. Is going to display the whatever the df having, right? The data. df is going to show the data. Right? Try to please open this cell and click on the run cell, or else you can use the shortcut option shift enter. Right? Now we are able to see the headers also. Customer ID, customer name. Right? So we just pass the some unstructured data. That means tuple. It having the collection of items. When we are writing the data frame and pass this data into the data frame, now we are able to see the data in table format level, means structure format level. Right? For example, I have a CSV data, means I have an Excel. I think everyone aware of Excel, right? Excel having, for example, 1 MB data or 2 MB data, right? So with the help of data frame, we are going to read the data, and we can able to see the data in notebook as well, right? By using show method or display method, we are going to see the output. Okay, right. This is the second way. I will share the PPT after the class. No worries. I will share the PPT after the class. Every day I will share the PPT and notes and video. These PPTs, documents and notes having the dedicated screenshots, dedicated notes. Okay. So I will mention the each and everything. Okay. Steps, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, like that. Right? For example, you are cleared about the topic. You understood about the topic, right? So after that, so you are planning to practice this concept. just to open the document, read the document, right? So compare the document and please try to create the lab in your portal, okay? Based upon the document, So every time opening the video, pause the video, unpause the video, right? And again, you are going back to the browser and checking whether this resource selection is correct or as compared to Shravan selection, whether I am giving the correct details or wrong. It will take some time and headache. Definitely, we are going to nervous position, right? Don't do like this. Just try to, please try to watch the video, right? Please try to watch the video and understand the concept and come back and open the document and read the document. And after that, you can open the portal and please try to create the resources as per this document. That's enough. That's enough. Right? Okay. Next, third one. Let me copy the question, topic. These things are keep on. I am going to repeat it until our course is going to complete. Every day I'm going to explain each and everything. Even end of the course also I'm going to explain each and everything, because if we keep on repeating everything, right, every time, definitely human mentality, so we are going to position to put all those things in your mind, right? Definitely at least for 50% or 60% or 70%. So you will get the knowledge and you are in a position to tell at least answer, right? Without document also, if you are in a position to answer at least 50% answer, right? Either one word answer, one simple sentence answer, you are in a position to give the answer, right? That's why I'm repeating all those things again and again. Okay, right. So here I have a existing code. But when I see this code, it's showing some error. No errors. Let me copy the code. Let me jump into the chat GPT. Okay. Let me paste here. Check errors. Most of the labs I will conduct through chat GPT only. Okay. Chat GPT is one of the AI tool, artificial intelligence tool. It is going to give the solutions in a proper manner and efficiently. So it is going to reduce the human time. For example, there is a user story. Currently, I am working on a sprint-based model. My Scrum Master is assigned one user story, right? He's asked me to read the data from this source and write the data into Synapse, right? Synapse. For understanding this concept, for doing development, right, it will take some time, 1 day or 2 days, right? If you depends upon any AI tool, chat GPT, right, you are in a position to finish your work within the half of the your time guidelines. For example, the user story time is 2 days, so you are in a position to complete your work within 1 day. Copy the code. Let me go back to the data frame, paste here. Yes. So we chat GPT is provided a proper solution. Maybe there is a hyphen issue or any in something, maybe comma or something. I forgot to give this any comma or brackets or and all. Okay, right. Any indentation issue also. Python having the indentation, right? While writing the Python code, we need to follow the indentation. Indentation means spaces. Okay, I will explain. No worries, I will explain Python related code. Okay, right. Here in the top level, I am able to see the headers. Right? Though these are the headers. If you go for any C# language, Java language, C language, right? In the root level, we are going to define these headers, packages, libraries, right? Right? So same like while handling with any Python related stuff, sometimes definitely we need to specify these packages while importing the functions, SQL functions, right? And handling the data types, we need to specify these functions. Sorry, we need to specify these packages, right? We need to specify these packages. Okay, from space pyspark.sql import Spark session. Spark session. Spark session. What is the meaning of Spark session? Why we are mentioning Spark session here? Anyone? Spark session.
For data frames, to import the
Yes.
data frame.
Yes, very good, very good. Right? While handling with at the time of handling the data frame, we need to specify this Spark session. Spark session means it is an object to create the data frame. It is an object. It is an object to create the data frame. To create the data. This is the data frame. Right? This is the data frame. It is not mandatory to specify this logic. It is not a mandatory. Right? This is also not a mandatory because we are right now we are using the latest cluster version. Cluster version. If you want, no worries, we can specify it. If you want, you can specify no worries. You can specify it. Right? At the moment, second slide. Spark session. We have the Spark session builder app name getter create, right? Getter create. Same code which is available, right? It is going to initiate the Spark session, right? It is a package, it is a library, or is a package. Just is a package. After the package import completed, we need to initialize the session. Right? That's why we need this code. Okay, it is not a mandatory. Let me comment the code. Or else let me remove the code. Your wish. If you see this code, it will take a huge amount of lines. Okay, right now, let me remove this option also. Right, almost 7 lines. Just almost. If you want to specify these 2 lines into single lines, yes, you can specify it. Okay, right. Right here I have a data. Here I have a data. Right? Tuple related data. Tuple is dedicated to one of the data type in Python. Next, here dynamically I'm going to specify the structure type. Hey, tuple, whatever we are handling the data, right? Just please consider this data structure while handling with the data. So you just keep in mind to take care of these data activities. Right? The first one is, say, please try to take the integer for the first one is integer. Second one, just please take this string type, right? So here we are specifying the null. Here we are specifying the one. Means customer ID always should be unique. I don't want any nulls, right? That's why their mention is the nullable equal to false. Means IDs always should be unique. 1, 2, 3, 4. Always should be unique, right? Every person having some dedicated ID. ID should be unique, right? Nullable equal to false means it is not going to allow any null values, right? If you see nullable equal to false, definitely names are maybe null, right? So Rama, again Rama. 5, again Rama. 6, again Rama. 7, again Krishna. 9, again Sai. 11, again Suresh. Maybe nulls available, right? It is a schema to define the structure type. I want my struct. This is the struct type. So this is the entire thing is struct type. Structure type. Inside structure type, we have the structure field. Field is an integer field. It is a string field. It is an integer field. It is a string field. That's why we imported these packages. We just imported struct type, struct field, string type, integer. For example, if you are going to handle any date time or date of birth, you need to import the date time and date of birth related packages. And if you're trying to handle the long number, double, float, you need to import those type of packages. Here we just specify the schema. Next, finally, here we have normal data frame, Spark dot create data frame. Here we are passing the data, schema. Right? Shift enter. Right? Now we are able to see the 1, 2, 3, 4. Rama, Krishna, Sai, Suresh. Rama, Krishna, Sai, Suresh. Okay. Okay. Any questions so far?
Shravan, in Databricks, this data is stored
Sorry.
just only showing purpose.
No. We are going to read the data, write the data. Before write the data, we are going to do some transformations, duplicate checks, null checks, applying the surrogate keys. We have a lot of things we are going to do under the Databricks.
Okay.
Not going to dedicate for any shows, displays and all. Here we are going to perform n number of transformations. Same like in Azure Data Factory data flows, right? Whatever we are doing graphical representation point of view. Here we are doing everything in code level, while handling the real-time streaming data, unstructured data, while performing the optimization techniques, everything we are going to write coding level.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Data frames. Still a few more concepts available, data frames. Just it is the basic one only today. We have advanced concepts available while handling the data, while we have the dedicated use cases for handling the data frames. Tomorrow we'll see the few more data frames, right? Or else we'll jump into the, let me go. Yes. We'll see the how we are going to read the Parquet data, how we are going to read the JSON data, CSV data, right? We'll see one by one, we'll see. Okay. And also we'll see the how we are going to read the frame data from blob storage, ADL, Gen2, SQL, right? We'll see. Any questions? That's it for today, guys. Any questions? Still we have 15 minutes left. If you have any questions, please let me know. Any questions? Any doubts? Any blockers? Or else if you are uncomfortable while speaking in front of everyone, please call me or please ping me personally. I will explain each and everything. But class related thing, please try to ask here only. Or else if you are not comfortable with English language, please let me know. I will try to explain your regional language after the class.
It's good stuff, but actually just more need to get points rather regarding as the coding only. That's because syntax and whatever update and the commands. So it need to recollect and it will take time. That's enough. Everything is okay.
Okay, right. Right. So if you understand the concept, so you are in a position to write the code. Okay, I think everyone understand the concept. So every day we are doing same like this only. I'm trying to explain each and everything in detail, right? If you are not sure or not comfortable, not understanding, or you are missing anything, please feel free to ask me. I will repeat 2 or 3 times again. Okay.
Sure.
Shravan sir, these 2-3 examples are belongs to create data frame model only.
Yes, we have still few more examples is there. We'll see later. Because we have 30 days time, right? In 30 days, we are going to discuss the DataFrames concepts, Databricks concepts, Pysark concepts, SQL, Python. So we are going to handle the unstructured data, structured data, and different source formats and different sources like SQL, file system, MongoDB, Cosmos DB, something. Any other questions? Right. That's it for today, guys. Thank you. Thanks for joining the meeting. Right. Chalo, bye. I will share the meeting. I will share the meeting ID in WhatsApp group.